Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be talking about splits, and I'm going to be breaking down the difference between an open split and a square splits, but both performed on the floor. So floor splits, open split, and then square splits. I personally I favor the square splits a lot more, simply because um, you're stretching the body a lot more evenly. You're keeping the pelvis nice and square. Those hips are staying right next to each other. Whereas when you're in that open split, one of the hips starts to lead a little bit more than a lot more than the other one. You have one leg reaching forward and the other leg is reaching back. And open splits are usually performed more in dance skills because you're able to really find that length, and it looks really long and pretty. It's not that they're ugly, but they are a little less ladylike. Let's take a look at our open split. So in our open splits, you can see like she's just open, chest is open. She even has her arms spread out. And then you can also see a lot more of her pelvic region. See, it's a lot more on display. So that trail leg is kind of turned out. So whenever you're talking about splits in general, there's always lead leg and trail leg. What's the lead leg doing? What's that trail leg doing? So in this open split, the trail leg is turned out. So instead of the thigh and the knee, or the quad and the knee kind of being on the floor, you kind of have them opened out to the side, which in turn makes her pelvic region more visible. Okay, so even when we flip that open split around, because we've opened up the front side of our body, if you're looking from the back, you're also open on the back. So now you can see all of the glutes. Both glutes are very, very visible because you've opened up the front, and that the front of your pelvis is visible. So now the entire back side of you is visible. Whenever you're in your square splits, the pelvis is coming straight down to the floor and both legs are evenly splitting away from the pelvis. So you have our lead leg, which is right on our backside. You're stretching out the entire posterior of the leg with that lead leg. And our trail leg is stretching out the entire anterior. So you're not open out on the inside of the thigh, where like you were in the open split, where you had the thigh and the knee pointed outward, and now the pelvis is a lot more visible. Now you're using that glute and you're keeping the hips square, and everything is facing straight forward, which then allows you a little bit more privacy. See what I'm talking about? So this is about as halal as it gets. Look at this. Even when you flip it around, you're seeing one glute. You're seeing a perfect profile, and you can't even see much. Whereas, like in that, again, like in your open splits, the entire glutes were so visible, and it's you just want to be a lady. You want to be a lady about it. If we're gonna do it, let's be a lady about it. Okay, at the very least. But with our square splits though, it really just it's really important that we, as we're aging, because I have a lot of older clients, but as we're aging and we're trying to learn these skills that we haven't done since we were children, we're trying to learn skills that we've never been able to do, and it's not impossible to do it, but it is very important that you're mindful of your approach. And a lot of times, what I've been seeing is, what one thing I hear a lot is, I need to get my hips popped. Whoa, don't do that. That scares me. Who's been doing this in life in general? Like, even as a child, I had a Russian ballet teacher. I never got my hips popped. That sounds scary. And as children, children are a little bit more resilient, but in adulthood, popping a hip, you're going to need a hip replacement. This is real life. We not recovering as quickly. We not up and moving. You sitting down all day at work after you done popped your hips. Come on. Don't, let's not let's let this go. That sounds primal. We're gonna let this go. We're gonna learn proper body movements and proper body function. We're gonna learn how to get visual. The best advice that I can give anybody whenever they're stretching is to really think about your muscular anatomy, but not just your muscular anatomy, but also like your entire anatomy in general, because it helps you really understand the stretch a lot better. Like with a split, if you really think about the way your pelvic bone sits, you have your glutes on the back side of your pelvis, and then on the front side you have those hip flexors. And I'll pull up a little diagram so you can see where it kind of shows you like the bones and the muscles, so you can kind of see what is required. Boom. Okay, so we have our glutes that's right there on the back. So when you're in that square split, that glute engagement is very important. Did you guys know split is technically a back bend? That's why it's very important that you are engaging your glutes. It's very important that the legs are engaged, period. The legs are actively reaching away from you. One huge issue with floor splits is because there hasn't been any proper training outside of before you get to the floor splits, and you haven't taken other approaches to help you really build that strength and understand your lead leg and trail leg duties. What starts to happen is people start to allow the floor to split them, and you're really relying on the floor to do all of the work, but the brain and the body are no longer connecting because we're thinking about the floor. The floor is doing the work. So it's really important that we remember that we are in control of the split, that we are splitting the legs, which is also why we're going to be learning our standing splits. We're going to be learning recline splits. Recline splits, that will reveal your true split, because now it's like you have to actively pull the legs apart. Even with the standing split, you have to actively, you have the standing splits really helps you work on that trail leg, and with the recline splits, it really helps you work on that lead leg. So that way you're really understanding everything that it takes. So that way when you get on the floor, the brain is like, boom, I know what this leg is doing. Boom, I know what that leg is doing. Boom, now we're gonna use the floor as an assistant. We're using it as an assistant, not doing all the work, not the main, it's not the machine. It's assisting us. Okay? Yeah, but the body is still nice and active. We're very aware of our pelvic bone because of of how our pelvis is sitting, because we are visualizing our anatomy. We're thinking about are my glutes engaged? Am I allowing my glutes to really push that trail leg pelvic side forward? So you want to, with that trail leg, it's very important that you're really using that glute, so that way you're otherwise the hips will start to open. In order for you to keep the hips from opening, you really have to engage that glute to keep that trail leg hip coming forward. So it's all about the glute engagement over there. And with that front leg, it's really about that quad engagement, because you want to, whenever the posterior is stretching, the anterior is engaged, and vice versa. So you want to make sure that you're fully supporting everything. But yeah, this is my breakdown of open and square splits. One of them is a lady. The other one is less than a lady. A little less than a lady. And just be a lady about it. If you're gonna do it, just be a lady about it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.